Girl in the Ashes. Chapter 2. It has been 4 years since Mother's death, but I miss her. Lady Harriet is now my stepmother, and her daughters are my stepsisters. The wedding was like I imagined aside from the colors. Lady Harriet chose a happy red and a warm orange. The theme was lighting up a new love, which I thought was romantic. Lanterns were lit and all the stars were out that night. We twirled and danced in Neriel's sparkly dresses. Father's been away on multiple business trips since the marriage, but I rarely have a spare moment to adequately notice his absence. I've been learning a great deal from Lady Harriet. She's taught me stitching, table etiquette, dancing, and everything a lady should know. My stepsisters struggle though in some of their lessons. Unlike me, they know what they want to specialize in, but they are taking a while to learn the basics. I guess I naturally pick things up. Additionally, I hurry through the lessons so I can run rampant outside or go horseback riding. Tessa wants to be great at singing and ballroom dancing. She hopes to catch the boys' eyes, especially the eyes of Prince Ed. She's the same age as him, 13, so I guess it makes sense. Since her birthday, she's been attending social gatherings, so she thinks she's mastered everything. Her mother disagrees. Tessa became a debutante so early because Lady Harriet thought it would humble the girl once she saw the other well-mannered ladies. It hasn't worked so far. Clara wants to catch Prince Ed's eye too, but she's the same age as me, and Lady Harriet hasn't taken either of us to social functions. I suspect Lady Harriet will wait until Tessa is engaged or when Clara and I turn 16, the standard age to become a debutante. Anyway, Clara wants to be exemplary at painting and poetry. I think those are great skills to master. I tried painting before. It was fun learning the strokes and capturing moments in time. Sunsets are my favorite subject, whereas Clara likes painting buildings and animals. She says animals are more challenging to paint, and she loves a good challenge. I do too, but whenever I ask her if she wants to race me, she says it isn't what a lady should do. Whenever father gets back, I will race him. Today he returns from the Kingdom of Avani, and we're hosting a homecoming party for him. It isn't easy being a merchant and having to leave the family all the time. His business gives me a roof over my head, so I shouldn't complain. Also, this will be a fun social event for Clara and me, seeing as we aren't invited to the rest. Clara, Tessa, and I are in charge of the decorations for the party. Tessa stacks the boxes in my and Clara's arms. We can barely peek over the top of them. Tessa? Don't you think you could take at least 2 boxes down? One from my stack and one from Clara's so we can see. I ask her. She huffs, I am a lady, and I don't lift things anymore. However, you two are still young and oblivious. She flicks her hair before departing downstairs. I've learned to hate her perfect blonde hair. I used to be golden blonde too, but my locks darkened. Father thinks my hair will get even darker, almost like the color of my eyes, a warm chocolate brown. Apparently he had lighter hair growing up too. Now he's a brunette with a full beard. What a sassy mule dressed in satin, I mumble to Clara. She stifles a laugh. Ella, that's not very nice. But she does have a hard time understanding what it takes to be a proper lady. I carefully step down the stairs. I say to myself that I'll never be Tessa's definition of a lady. I don't want people doing things for me that I can do myself. I'm afraid Clara will start believing Tessa's version one day. She may say she doesn't like it now, but I'm not the one who's Tessa's biological sister. We make it down the stairs and into the backyard, where we are hosting the party. Tessa waits for us there. She orders us to set the boxes on a wooden table as we hear a carriage pull up in the front. Tessa beams and claps her hands before she reverts back to Miss Bossy, telling us to set things up as she goes to see who it is. Clara sighs and brushes her fine locks away from her face. I put my darkened blonde hair in a ponytail with a pink ribbon, wishing I had another one on me to give to Clara. I start digging through the boxes for decorations. We hang most in the trees. Clara hangs them low on the branches and bushes as I seek the higher areas. I get on my tiptoes for the bushes and climb the trees. It looks beautiful when we finish, but something is missing. Tessa and Lady Harriet start leading people to the backyard. They set up their blankets and gaze at our handiwork. Clara smiles seeing how much people love our decorating. I smile too, but I need to find that missing piece for the large oak tree. I dig through what remains in the boxes. Suddenly that's when the sun hit a rather delicate object. I pull it out and see that it's what I'm looking for. Mother's heart wreath made of Nerial's fabric flowers. I climb the tree. People watch me in surprise as I feel their eyes on me. I also hear a familiar voice asking what I'm doing. It's Prince Ed's voice. I wouldn't think the prince would be here nor his family. We haven't talked to them since the wedding 3 years ago. As I get halfway up, the tree's leaves tremble more than they already were. I look down through the branches and see Prince Ed following me. I continue climbing. It's his fault if he falls on his royal bottom. Finally, I reach a branch that can hold my weight and sit down on it. I look down at the prince and say, "Why are you following me?" He finds a stopping place and says, "Just wondering why you're climbing a tree." I laugh. "You think I shouldn't be? So what? You've come to climb it for me? I think I'll pass, thanks." I start climbing the tree again until I get to the top where I place Mother's heart wreath. When Prince Ed is no longer in my way, I head down. I can tell he's still watching, probably waiting for me to get scared. That's more of Tessa's thing, not mine. Even if I was frightened, I am too stubborn to ask for help. As I hit the grass, I falter back and almost fall on the ground. I could have balanced myself, but no, Prince Ed has to be Prince Charming. He dashes forward and balances me. I quickly yank away from his grasp. Let go of me. I had it handled. I shout as I get away from him. Really? You had it handled? Yes, I say as I look up at the top of the tree. It's beautiful now. Father will love it, but I don't know how much he'll like snotty princes running around. I turn to see Prince Ed still standing there. I wait for him to say something else in his spoiled rich boy manner. He then says, "It looks magical." I'm surprised, but before I can say thank you or anything else, music starts playing and Tessa runs over to dance with Prince Ed. For the first time, I'm disappointed that someone took him away. I wanted to tell him why it meant so much to me, and then see if he'd race me. If he likes climbing trees, he probably likes running too. My, what a picnic. I hear my father say. I turn to see him across the green lawn. I brighten and run through the established dancing area, bumping into Prince Ed and Tessa. Tessa shouts at me while Prince Ed watches in curiosity. I couldn't care less about Tessa's pride. Father is here and that's all that matters. He opens his arms as I run into them. He picks me up in a hug and says, "Oh my sweet princess. I missed you." I say the same to him and point out what I arranged in the tree. He looks at it for a long time and then kisses me on the forehead. "I believe I owe you a dance," he cheerfully says, taking me over to where everyone is dancing. I smile and whisper something to him. He beams, "You sure?" I nod eagerly. We then swing dance while the others do a more traditional dance. My favorite part is when Father takes me between his legs and slides me back up. Most people stop to watch us, including the Queen and King, Prince Ed, and Tessa. Tessa doesn't look happy about the distraction Father and I caused. So, when the song changed, I dragged her in so she could dance with Father. I clap as I watch her try to do it. After that, Clara attempts it, and Father convinces Lady Harriet to join. It is all great fun. Right as other people join in again, Prince Ed pokes me in the shoulder obnoxiously. "What?" I finally say. "Want to dance?" he asks. Maybe if you race me," I say, desperate for a good run. He grins. "All right, if I win you dance with me, and if you win I'll dance with you." That's the same thing. And who says I want to dance with you? Well, it doesn't matter because I will win anyway. "Yeah right, when I win you'll do 20 push-ups, then see if you still want to dance with me." Agreed, he says, taking my hand to ensure I follow him. He leads me to an open area where people aren't in the way. I smile to myself as I realize what area it is. He probably won't go past the starting line once he realizes it. This is where the horses graze, gallop, and prefer to do their business. The gate is open right now because the horses are in the stables. "Where to?" I ask him. "To the other side of the fence and back." "On 3. 1, 2, 3, he shouts, only to slip on some horse poop. I laugh as I run, hoping over the treacherous horse droppings. From the corner of my eye, I see him covered in mud with poop clinging to his shoes. I'm halfway back to the starting point as he reaches the other fence. I wait for him when I finish. He finally makes it and grumbles, "You win." I point firmly to the ground. He sighs and does his 20 push-ups. I keep myself from laughing. He's so messy and smells like a pig. I don't think Tessa will ever want to dance with him if she finds out. He stands when he finishes and offers his hand. I still feel like dancing. I roll my eyes. I was hoping he wouldn't want to, but he sees how much I detest the idea, especially after what happened to him. I grudgingly take his hand, and we dance to the music that plays softly in the distance from the party. "How are you liking your dance with a prince?" he asks. "It's not as bad as I imagined. I thought you would smell like this regardless of your poop disaster." "Haha. You're so funny," he says sarcastically. "Why did you want to dance with me anyway?" He shrugs, "I guess to find out if you could dance like a lady." "And can I?" "Surprisingly, yes," he says, staring straight into my eyes with his deep brown ones. I hide a smile since the brown in his eyes reminds me of the poop that's mixed into his blonde hair. He doesn't notice my hidden grin. He is about to say something else when Tessa runs over to us. "Ella, you can't hug everything." Once she gets close enough, she sees Prince Ed's condition. She steps back and gasps, "What did you do to him?" I start to explain, but she keeps at it, "Mother. Come quick. Ella has ruined Prince Ed's suit." Both Lady Harriet and father, along with everyone else, come over at a fast pace. "Ella. Explain yourself." Lady Harriet shouts at me when she sees Prince Ed. I open my mouth, but she yells at me again, and "Don't make anything up." I don't have any words to speak. She has never yelled at me like this before. I stumble out words, "I didn't. I didn't mean." Luckily for me, Prince Ed speaks, "It's not her fault. I picked this spot to race her." Tessa scoffs, "That doesn't make any difference. She knew you would end up like this, but she didn't say anything. She probably challenged you in the first place too. It's clearly her fault." "I'm sorry you have to deal with my stepsister's low-life tendencies, Your Highness." I miserably gape at the ground. "Fine, it was my fault. That's what you want to hear, right?" I look back at father to see if he will say anything. He doesn't appear upset, which eases the blow when he says, "You will see the prince to the well and get him cleaned off. Your sisters will help. Tessa, you get the prince some fresh clothes with Neriel. Clara, you will help Ella." The three of us nod, and Tessa follows Neriel to her shop. Clara and I take Prince Ed to the well. We avoid puddles out of fear of getting lectured. None of us speak as we walk away from the crowd of people. I must look like dirt in the Queen and King's eyes. I shall never do such a thing with royalty again. Clara sits with Prince Ed on a garden bench while I wheel a bucket down the well for water. I hear Clara softly talking to Prince Ed. It's not about me, so I don't care what they chat about. I'm glad father sent Tessa away and not Clara. Clara is more easygoing than Tessa will ever be, even if Tessa claims she is a proper lady. I feel the bucket touch the water and let it drop. Lifting the bucket back up is always the hardest part because of the added weight, but I've done it several times. The load isn't as heavy for me anymore. By the time Clara and Prince Ed draw into silence, the bucket reaches the top. I untie it from the rope and walk over to them. Clara already has the rags. She must have gotten them from on top of the well when I wasn't looking. She hands me one. I plunge the rag into the water, then wring it out so it's damp. Clara does the same. We start on his face. I rub one cheek and Clara does the other. He laughs, which startles me. I didn't expect to hear a laugh or see a smile after such an intense atmosphere. We stop rubbing his cheeks. "What's so funny?" Clara asks. He smiles. It feels strange when my cheeks move in different directions. "See?" He puts his fingers on Clara's cheeks and moves one side up and the other down simultaneously. She pulls back and laughs. "Stop that. It's weird." I want to join in the fun, but something deep down stops me. I say nothing and start cleaning his face again. Both he and Clara stop fooling around and drift back into silence. I'm sure they realize that I feel guilty. I want to clean up my mess, but that mess is a person. It's hard to clean someone when they're moving around so much. My rag is filthy, so I dip it back in the water. This time I don't wring it out. While I do this, I hear Prince Ed whisper something to Clara. Clara then goes over to the well. For what, I don't know, so I continue to work. As I turn to Prince Ed, he says, "I'm really sorry, Ella. It really was." I hold the rag over his head and squeeze out the water. He stops mid-sentence as the water splashes on his head. I take the rag to scrub the poop and mud out of his hair. "Are you that upset?" I continue to work but answer, "I just realized that I can never trust your apologies. You were never sorry for me when my mother died." I didn't understand. I was 9. I guess my father was right, boys take forever to grow up. I knew perfectly well that when people die, they go somewhere else where you can't see them. "Are you really that sheltered, Your Highness?" I splash the rag back into the bucket. I angrily get the gunk off. The water looks like a poop soup. I bring the rag out of the water and throw it at Prince Ed, telling him to do something on his own for a change. My day of happiness has officially been ruined, I think, as I take the bucket to Clara, who stands by the well. "You didn't have to yell at him," she says. I don't respond as I dump the water and tie the bucket back on the rope to get fresh water. "Ella, he does live a sheltered life, but that isn't his fault. Don't act like he's helpless." I peer over my shoulder and see that he's cleaning himself up, which proves Clara's point. I never thought he was. "I am just mad, and I think too much," I say as I turn back to lower the bucket. This time I let it fall faster into the water, and then I pull it back up filled. "Go help him, Clara." "I'll apologize." "I promise," I tell her. She smiles and walks to Prince Ed. I get the bucket to the top and untie the rope. Prince Ed doesn't appear mad when I approach them, so I maintain my composure. It takes a while before I think I can give an apology that won't sound like his when my mother died. I lower the bucket and say, "I am sorry for shouting at you. I am really angry at myself, not you." Prince Ed considers my apology, looking up at the sky. He stands and walks towards me. I think I'll accept it, as long as I get to redo mine. "I'm sorry for the loss of your mother. She must have been a wonderful lady. My mother loved her dearly and continues to love your family." He takes my hand and kisses it without hesitation. I can't hide the pink that rushes to my face. After the kiss is done, he gives me a strange glance while still holding my hand. "Ella, you're supposed to clean him off, not hold hands with him." Tessa protests from behind me. I turn around, his hand slipping away. "Did you get another suit?" "And he's mostly cleaned off, besides the clothes he's wearing." She waves a bundle in front of her. "Here it is. I'll bring Prince Ed to a room so he can change. You two wait here." Tessa walks to Prince Ed and flashes him a smile. She takes his hand and herds him like he's her sheep. He glances at Clara first, then me. I don't know how he looked at Clara, but he gave me that same expression from earlier. I don't know what to call it. "Ella," I hear Lady Harriet say. I shake the thoughts from my head and look where her voice came ringing. She comes closer before she speaks. "I hope you said goodbye. The king told your father that the royal family won't attend these functions anymore." I'm confused. "What do you mean?" She looks down at the ground and then back up at me. "I mean events with you present." I still don't know what she's talking about. I didn't do anything to him besides this one time. I didn't think it was that bad. Apparently it must have been to the king.